They keep claiming they're searching for a cure for cancer. And it's a great scam because they get people to keep donating money so that they can spend money to find the so-called, quote, cure for cancer. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that if they were to find this cure for cancer, let's say there's a miracle chemical out there, we'll call it chemical C for cancer. If they were to find this miracle chemical, do you think they would give it away to the whole world for free? They would never give it away. It would be the blockbuster drug of the millennia. It would be the greatest selling drug ever. Because drug C would be the blockbuster drug of the millennium. They would earn trillions of dollars selling that drug, and they would price it at the highest price they could possibly get for it. And in fact, if they really found such a cure, they might just bury it. They might just say, you know what, we can't give this drug to patients and cure them of cancer because we're making too much money on the chemotherapy, guys. You give a patient a drug that sends them home, never to return, then you've just lost revenues for life. There's no money in that. They're not looking for a cure, folks. And even if they were, they wouldn't give it away. They would sell it and earn trillions off of it. So why are people all around this country running around in circles, raising money to give to the wealthiest corporations in the world, the drug companies, so that they can develop a drug that they would only sell back to you? They wouldn't give it away. You see what a scam that is? We don't need to keep searching for the cure for cancer. We already have many cures for cancer. Many. Mother Nature has provided them. Remember, folks, we don't have a health care system in this country. We have a sickness care system. And by the way, we don't even have a sickness prevention system in this country. We have a sickness maintenance system. You understand the difference? In other words, they're not interested in curing your disease. They're interested in managing it, managing your symptoms so that you never actually get rid of the disease. When was the last time you went to the doctor with cancer or diabetes or heart disease and they said, oh, take these pills and it'll cure it and then you'll never need the medicine again? They never say that because that's not what they want to do. They want to give you something to manage the symptoms. If you have high cholesterol, they say, here, take these cholesterol pills. How long? How long should I take them, doc? A month? A year? No. Forever. Forever. That's how they turn your body into a lifetime revenue-generating machine that keeps their pockets fattened with cash and keeps you broke and bankrupt and diseased, suffering from side effects, losing your memory because one of the side effects of most of these pharmaceuticals is brain fog. If your brain's not working the way it used to, you might want to start asking about the pharmaceuticals that you're taking because they do have that effect. Find solutions to your health challenges. There are solutions to all of those. You can prevent them. 98% of all cancers can be prevented by making different choices. 98%. There's only about 2% of the cancers that are purely genetic. Everything else is based on what you eat, what you put on your body, the toxic chemicals, what you drink, what kind of air you breathe, whether or not you're getting sunlight and vitamin D, what kind of nutritional supplements you take, and so on. These are all factors that you can largely control. But remember, the FDA now and the entire system of conventional medicine, they don't want you to believe that you have control. You see, they victimize people by making them think that they have no control. I mean, think about it. How do they gain more power and profits? By getting people to believe that they don't have any choice about their health outcome. That's how they gain power and profits. If the people realize that they're empowered to change their health outcome, to prevent disease, for example, or to reverse disease, then the drug companies lose out. Then the doctors lose out. Then the mammogram machine manufacturers lose out. The FDA loses. All these people have their egos and their careers invested in the continuation of disease. And if you are unwilling to participate in the continuation of disease, then they don't like you because you're denying them revenues. Did you know that just being diabetic
means that you'll pay over $500,000, not just out of your own pocket, but out of insurance companies and Medicare and Medicaid. There's $500,000 that is earned by the conventional medical industry based on you being diabetic. You see where I'm getting at here? Because if you prevent diabetes, which is very easy to do, we'll have a whole show on that here in the near future, but if you prevent diabetes, you prevent those people from earning $500,000. You actually, in their minds, you cost them $500,000.
And if you have an organization like, let's say, the American Diabetes Association, which says that there is no cure for diabetes, you must simply understand this organization takes money from the drug companies that sell the pharmaceuticals that manage blood sugar in diabetics. They have no reason to tell you that you can cure this in about 3 weeks. No reason at all. Because if everybody cured their diabetes, they wouldn't need to keep buying these drugs. See how that works? You'll soon come to learn, if you don't already realize it, that organized medicine is a system of profit set up to manage and maintain disease in people. It has absolutely no interest in finding cures for anything because it's just too darn profitable to keep treating the disease. It is extremely profitable to treat cancer and to treat diabetes, especially if you don't make people well. It's like catching a politician in a lie, and then that politician has to keep the lie going, and then the lie gets more and more outrageous every time he repeats it, tells it to a different group in a different city when he's touring around trying to get elected. This is what the ADHD industry is like. It's like they have to carry on this outrageous lie. And they can't really tell the truth because then the whole house of cards would collapse and everybody would realize this is all one giant fraud. They can't do that, so they have to keep coming up with new lies to try to market this to more people. First, it was just a children's disorder. Then the drug companies realized, gee, we could sell this same speed drug to adults, couldn't we? I mean, think about it. Children are only a small part of the total market. What if we could convince adults that they too have ADHD? Then we could sell this drug to them also. So they came up with a test. That's right, a test, a paper test, to try to convince adults that they had ADHD. And you know what this paper test is made of? It's a few questions. A few questions like, do you feel like you're juggling too many things in your day? Do you have too much on your mind or too many projects that you can't finish? Do you feel like the stresses of modern life are distracting you? Do you have trouble finishing projects or trouble concentrating on your work? These are the kinds of questions they asked. Well, it turns out that virtually everyone has ADHD according to those questions. This is what they use to diagnose adults. See, there's no test. There's no blood test. There is no body chemistry test. There's no MRI scan. There's nothing physically wrong, nothing chemically wrong. They just take a test. And it turns out that 80% of American adults who take this test end up diagnosed with ADHD. 80%. 4 out of 5 adults that walk into this room and answer these questions get slapped with a label. You're ADHD. Gee, what a quick quack diagnosis, isn't it? Drag a bunch of adults into a room, tell them they have a disease, and then give them a drug. That's what this industry is all about. Now, treatment is the word that this industry uses for marketing. When they say treatment, what they mean is get out your wallet. And when they say too many children are going untreated, what they mean is not enough kids have bought our drugs. Not enough parents have given in. That not enough prescriptions have been written. When they say that more children need treatment, that's what they mean. That they need to sell more drugs. They've managed to change the language. They've managed to phrase all of this so that their marketing campaigns sound like compassionate public health campaigns. Oh, we care about these children so much that we have to sell them our overpriced monopoly prescription drugs that used to be sold as street drugs. Wow. A nation of drugged children. Stunted growth. What other side effects might we learn about this in the years ahead? Nobody knows. The researchers certainly don't know. This is all one giant experiment using our children as guinea pigs. This is a giant marketing experiment designed to generate profits, to scare people into believing in a fictitious disease, to label children with a fictitious disease name that they will carry with them for the rest of their lives, make them a victim of a system of medicine that has no purpose other than to extract profits from bodies. Because ADHD won't be the first label they'll get. No way. Perhaps the side effects of these drugs will cause liver damage, and then they'll get another disease name, liver disease. Then after liver damage is in place for a long period of time, they'll have toxicity in their blood, and that might cause heart disease. It might cause sleep disorders. It might cause depression. And guess what? Big Pharma has a drug to treat all of those too. What are the odds? But you say, well, my child has behavioral problems, or he's difficult in school, or the teachers told me that I should put him on Ritalin. What do I do? It's real simple. Change the kid's diet. Take all the processed foods out of his diet. Take away the food additives, the artificial colors, artificial flavors, processed sugars. Take all that out. Fill his diet with wholesome foods, fresh produce, superfood nutrients. This is not difficult stuff. Take the aspartame out of their diets. Stop feeding them soda and diet soda. Put wholesome foods and nutrition back into their diets. They will change. And they'll do better in school, and they'll resist infection, and they'll be far less likely to ever be diagnosed with diabetes or cancer or heart disease. You will, in fact, be creating a very positive future for that child by changing their nutrition today. That's how you eliminate so-called behavioral disorders, for the most part. 80% success rate within a couple of weeks. Just by changing what they eat. Very simple. This is kind of common sense. Common sense that is completely missed by the whole system of organized medicine today. Psychiatry has no clue about the link between nutrition and brain health. They imagine it doesn't even exist. They think that all behavioral disorders are a result of some kind of brain chemical imbalance that has to be corrected with an artificial synthetic chemical put into the body. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to show you right here on this show that you don't live in that country. You live in a medical tyranny. You live in a country where oppression and censorship is the rule when it comes to health information. You are not allowed access to the information that could save your life, information that you need to know right now about how to prevent cancer, prevent diabetes, prevent heart disease. And there are government agencies, and I'm going to name them, and I'm going to explain this in great detail here on this show, who are actually trying to separate you from the information that you need. Let me give you a concrete example. A little over a year ago, the FDA noticed that companies selling products made with cherries were starting to make some claims about those cherries. On their websites, they were linking to scientific papers published in peer-reviewed medical journals, by the way, that showed that cherries ease inflammation, that is, for arthritis, better than the typical anti-inflammatory drugs now being prescribed for arthritis. So you got that? So there's been research done on cherries showing that the medicine in cherries, the natural medicine, which is found in the skin of the cherry, and they're called anthocyanins, by the way. These are natural chemicals found in cherries. These work better against arthritis than anti-inflammatory drugs. And this has been published in science journals, medical journals around the world, peer-reviewed journals, publishing these studies based on randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. These are the gold standard of scientific credibility. Well, these companies that were selling cherry products decided to start linking to that information. And why not? I mean, if there's good information out there, about how these can help people be healthy and avoid dangerous pharmaceuticals that were actually killing people through heart attacks and strokes, then shouldn't people have access to that information? Of course they should. So these companies, these cherry growers and cherry product manufacturers, started linking to those scientific studies from their own websites. The FDA got word of that. The FDA, that's right, the Food and Drug Administration. This is the government agency that pretends to protect the public. But in reality, it's just a marketing branch of Big Pharma. It promotes pharmaceuticals and it discredits natural medicine. That's what the FDA really does today. Well, the FDA got word of this about cherries, and they flipped out. They realized that if the American public learned the truth about cherries and their medicinal qualities, especially cherry extracts, which are very potent, or certain cherry products that have high potency, then they realized that the entire market for pharmaceuticals would be threatened, and that people might not buy as many pharmaceuticals, and that means the profits for Big Pharma would plummet. That means potentially millions, even billions of dollars could be lost if the public learned the truth about natural medicine. You see, this was a threat. This is a threat to the status quo. This is a threat to Big Pharma. The truth about natural medicine is a threat to the business interests that now run this government and this country. So, what did our government do? They pulled out the censorship card. And they sent letters to 29 different cherry companies. And these letters threatened them. They threatened them with being put out of business, with having their inventory confiscated in an armed FDA raid. And the FDA has raided many vitamin companies in the past. I've documented that on my website, naturalnews.com. Just go there and search for FDA raids. And I have a complete history of the FDA raids that have been committed against nutritional supplement companies, vitamin companies, even a pet food store because they were selling vitamins for pets. So the FDA threatened these cherry growers, and they said, you must remove these links to this scientifically valid information about the health benefits of cherries. And if you don't remove them, we're going to put you out of business. That's what our government does to keep you ignorant. They don't want you to know the truth that you're hearing right here, right now. They don't want you to know this. They don't want you to be empowered with the information that you need to get off of dangerous pharmaceuticals and end your arthritis pain using natural medicine that's safe, that's cheap, and that has no negative side effects, doesn't need a prescription, doesn't make billions of dollars for any company because it's made by Mother Nature. It's not made by man with his patents and his greed and his corporate control. It's not made by that kind of a system. It's made by Mother Nature, free, abundant, open source. Anyone can pick a cherry and eat it, and you don't have to pay a royalty to Mother Nature. And that's where the medicine really is. It's right there in the fruits, in the vegetables, in the nuts, and the seeds. It's in all these plants that are created by Mother Nature for free. For free. The FDA couldn't stand that. Couldn't stand to see people have access to that information. So it put out the word that this must stop. This censorship must be put into place. And it worked. These companies took the links off their website, and now you do not have access to that information. The public still doesn't know. You're probably surprised to hear this. Cherries work better than anti-inflammatory drugs for arthritis pain? Really? I bet you're surprised to hear that because the public has not been allowed to know this. The knowledge has been kept from the people deliberately for one purpose only, and that is to keep people ignorant and protect the profits of the pharmaceutical companies. They're counting on people to have Alzheimer's and cancer and osteoporosis and depression. They're counting on it. They've already made investments based on these trends that they see, how many people are going to be sick over how many years and the demographics involved. They're counting on it. And the last thing they want is people like you and me mucking around with their plans and preventing their profits from appearing because we're teaching each other how to be well. They don't want that. And that's why they invoke the FDA to keep us all ignorant.
You pay, or your health insurance company pays. Somebody pays when the consumer of that product is ultimately diagnosed with cancer and has to be treated for cancer. Because cancer is a very, very expensive disease to treat. No surprise, then, that there's so much profit to be had in cancer. And so this is how food companies and medicine companies get along so well. Oh, they're best buddies. It's like they built a tree house, and it's their own private club. No one else can get in their tree house. It's Big Food and Big Pharma right there together, huddled up together, scheming there in their little secret tree house. They got a password. You can't get up there unless you know the password. See, Big Food sells products that cause disease. And then Big Pharma sells chemicals that manage disease. Notice that neither one of these companies sells anything that prevents disease. Did you notice that? A pretty neat trick, huh? No one's really interested in preventing disease in consumers because there's no money in it. There's no money in selling a healthy food product that actually costs more to produce and doesn't create disease. There's no additional profit in that to the company making it. And of course, there's no money whatsoever in medicine in keeping a consumer well. If you prevent disease in a consumer, you actually prevent organized medicine from receiving sometimes up to $1 million in revenues over the lifetime of that consumer. If you prevent diabetes, you actually prevent probably $600,000 or $800,000 worth of profits to the organized medical industry over the lifetime of that diabetic patient. If you prevent cancer, you deny that industry maybe up to $1 million in revenues. And so there are all sorts of financial incentives in place to keep selling cheap foods made with chemicals that cause disease, and then to keep consumers buying and eating those products so that they continue to have disease and continue to need treatment for that disease without actually curing them or without actually preventing any of those diseases. It's a great scam, quite a marriage between Big Food and Big Pharma. And that's how tumors take over and start growing in your body. But if you start drinking plants through smoothies and juices made from fresh, raw, living plants on a daily basis, guess what happens? You start consuming things that are called anti-angiogenesis factors. And they're naturally present in all of these plants. You don't have to get a prescription. You don't have to pay a royalty. You don't have to send money to the drug companies. All you got to do is thank Mother Nature for making this medicine available and be wise enough to drink it. And it goes to work in your body. And it stops those cancer tumors from laying those tracks. And it stops the blood supply. And then those cancer tumors, they just shrivel up. And they die. And then they're carried away as metabolic waste through normal processes in your body. You never get diagnosed with cancer. You never even know that that tumor was there. That's how you prevent cancer. You don't prevent cancer by going shopping, because the cancer industry wants you to think that you can cure cancer by buying products that have little pink ribbons on them. This is the insane idea that if we all just did enough shopping, we would cure cancer. It's insane. Only in America, I say. We can prevent cancer, though. We can prevent cancer at about an 80 to 90% success rate with just a few simple things. One of them is going to a plant-based diet. It's real simple. And that's my message to all of you, that there is a better way to live our lives to ensure that we have a healthy future for our nation and our children. And it is turning to plant-based medicines and abandoning this ridiculous investment in more pharmaceuticals. How powerful is vitamin D as a healing nutrient? It's so powerful that it prevents 77% of all cancers. All cancers. This is research that has been published in a peer-reviewed medical journal. You can search for this on newstarget.com if you want the details on it. Search for vitamin D, cancer, and the number 77. And you'll find some fascinating facts about that. Think about it. That's almost 4 out of 5 cancers that we can prevent in this country with one nutrient alone. One nutrient. A nutrient that is free. You can't even patent it. You can't sell it. You can't commercialize it. And that is, in fact, exactly why you've never been told this information from anyone in organized medicine. There's no incentive for them to let you know that you can cure disease or prevent cancer on your own without a prescription, without even paying any money to the medical system. You see, they're in business. They need repeat customers. They need people to keep coming back with cancer and to come back with diabetes. So they need more blood sugar management, and they need more chemotherapy, and they need more heart surgeries, and they need more pharmaceuticals, and then they need new pharmaceuticals to cover the side effects of the pharmaceuticals they were first taking. And this goes on and on and on, and it's a long chain of events that leaves you dead and bankrupt, because 50% of all bankruptcies in the United States of America now are due to medical bills. They will take your money to the day that you die. And when your insurance runs out, they'll send you home to die.